Hello, this is Nathan, better known as CrazyhermitDM, and this is my podcast, The Hermit's Homebrew. Joining me today is Wayne from Dungeon Crate as we talk about his subscription service and tabletop gaming. Now, some folks build adventures, other build communities, and then there are folks like Wayne here at Dungeon Crate who somehow manage to do both at the same time and then ships it to your door monthly. Before we start out these conversations, take a peek at the episode description and check out those sponsors and those partners and make sure to support the podcast, and you'll get some nice discount codes that won't make your wallet wince as much when you go to buy those things, and it will help support what we're trying to do here. Today's guest is a one-of-a-kind guy in our TTRPG community. Almost pretty much the last decade now has been doing Dungeon Crate, as he's the founder and also the co-host of the Dungeon Cast. A regular voice in the Omaha gaming scene and a longtime advocate for creativity, curation, and doing work when no one else is watching. Judging off some of the social media posts I've seen you have, I did want to start by rewinding back a bit and ask, like, you've lived a very interesting life from all the research I've done. So when did you first start playing?
I first started playing back in California. I grew up in Santa Maria, California, which is kind of Southern California. And I think a friend of a friend got me involved in my first game, and it was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, probably in 1982 it had to be 1982. And then some of my other friends got into it as well, and the little gang that I used to hang out with, we started playing and got a little group together called the Lords of Adventure and War Games. We even had a little constitution you signed, 25 cents a month for dues. And we just started, right. See, we got to play, and we used the money to buy candy and stuff like that, and snacks and whatnot. My parents loved it. They liked that we hung out at home and kind of got together and did this fantasy. I was also an artist. I love to draw, so I was really into all of that as well. Anything fantasy and Conan was my bag. So when I came across Dungeons and Dragons, it was super fun because I got to live out those things that I was reading, the comics and all of the books and whatnot. So yeah, it's been a while since I started playing. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh God, Conan. That I haven't read any of those in a while, but man, those were so good growing up.
Yeah, totally my inspiration for art and otherwise everything.
Is that kind of what grabbed you initially about the game? Is you could basically play a Conan type character?
Well, oddly enough, I didn't. I think I started out playing a dwarf, something like that. I was into Tolkien as well, so I just liked that whole fantasy realm. I wanted to be in a world that I enjoyed just as much as the movies that I watched, and I had a pretty good group of people. My dungeon master was really great. He did a lot of stuff. Of course, we always go to the comic shop and get the modules and whatnot, but he would always put us in our own world. He liked to write. He was a writer, so he was able to do a lot of these adventures on his own, which really inspired me later in life. And then as I grew up, I named my company, my LLC, Lords of Adventure and War Games. So they kind of after my old high school D&D club. So far, nobody's come after me about the name, so it's fine.
So when did you start the LLC then?
I started that same time I started Dungeon Crate, so that'd be about 10 years ago. I think we just have our 10 year anniversary. I think 9 or 10, I'm pretty sure, something like that.
2016.
Yeah. So that was when we sent our first one out, and we just kind of kept going with that, and kind of tried to do different things. We tried out lots of different things. We've tried out all sorts of things when it comes to the crate in itself. So it was fun to be able to take that and work with it. And just kind of play around every month and figure out what we wanted to put in for the year.
What was the weirdest thing you ever put into a Dungeon Crate?
Do I do what?
What's the weirdest thing you ever put into a Dungeon Crate?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Probably, I don't know. We had some fun stuff with mythical meats. That was those guys. We did some, so it was like jerky, exotic animal jerky. So minotaur meat and dinosaur, and they had Bigfoot and unicorns and dragon meat and all that, and it was just like alligator and ostrich and wild game and bison and things like that. That was probably the the weirdest thing as far as food product goes, and I know we kind of got it from people that were vegetarians. Sorry about that, but yeah, it was in a package. But that's, I don't know. Everything is kind of weird. It just depends on what is going on. Everything from tokens to candy to different dice. We've had, oh my gosh, little tiny gelatinous cubes, handcrafted things. I don't know. It's hard to say after 10 years. It's getting harder and harder to curate. A lot of people are making a lot of good stuff, so that's always good.
I have to say, like, out of the dozen times or half dozen times I've been to your shop, like, that pretty much describes your shop.
Yeah.
And I think it's in Dundee or Benson.
Benson, yep.
Yeah, it's just a collection of, like, everything.
Yeah,
like being inside a dungeon crate.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was kind of the goal because, for a long time, especially after COVID, I kind of wanted to get something out there that was, I don't think I ever went into the business wanting to give 1,000 nerds the same exact thing, thinking everybody's going to be cool with that, So it was kind of like, wait, what am I doing? But for the most part, it was great. And I think at that time I really wanted to we have a lot of overstock and stuff. So, the more stuff you buy, you can get it cheaper. And then we would do other boxes and then past boxes. But it was something after COVID. I really wanted to talk to some real human beings and got tired of doing Roll20. Wanted to see play in real life. And after that all started to calm down, we decided to take our fulfillment center that we had and make it into a retail shop, take some of the overstock that we had and put it up here for sale. See if anybody wanted to stop by and check it out. Now, my goal was not to have a game shop like everybody else does around here, because a lot of my friends own the game shops, and I didn't want to compete with anybody like that. Like, we got Legends right down the street, Legends Comics and Coffee, for crying out loud. So I tried to put in things that are, have this store be less of a store and more like a clubhouse. So we've got tables, we got custom tables in here for games. I got a bunch of stuff for all the years of playing. So I was able to fill it up with cool things in each game room or around each game table. And it's not huge. So you're not going to get 10 tables of gamers in here on any given night. You're going to get 3. And then we've got a downstairs space too. And so we had that open. The store itself isn't so big that we can have like open every day for retail and have a bunch of employees and whatnot. So it's a very curated store. Like I said, it's more like a clubhouse with a gift shop. We do have a thriving online store, and then we've got the subscriptions. We also do the specialty boxes that are non-subscription. We try to put together things like a GM's toolbox and a new player kit and a horror crate and things like that of some of the stuff that we've already gotten. Put those together, curate that box together for people to use. So if they're just getting started into the game, great. If they're a DM and they want the DM-centric items, then we've got that curated for you as well. We started doing that, and then we started hosting games and events, and yeah, so we're kind of on a open. Our store is open basically when we have events. So dungeon clubs on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays if I'm in town, and we have DMs available. We'll be running that, and that's on our online. You can see where our events are. We also have done Quest at the Castle, where we rented out Joslyn Castle.
I know, that was amazing. I was so sad I got to miss that.
Yeah, three floors of. We wanted to do a D&D in a castle here because I couldn't get to England, or Europe. So I went ahead and we contacted Joslyn, and they loved the idea. So we got all 3 floors and the outside as well, and put this on. Hopefully, it was done. I think we did it well enough to where we could do it twice a year. That's what our kind of goal is for that. But that was really fun too. And so we're really kind of focused on doing not only just our online store. Having the clubhouse open when we have events and really focusing on events. So curated games. When you come here to game, we've got all the maps, all of the terrain, all of the minis. We've got everything you need here, and then some. And some great dungeon masters that have been gaming with us for years, actually. Now at least, because I think we've had the store open for 3 years now. 3 years. So yeah, it's just kind of turned into that. And we get a lot of the same people that come in, a lot of new people, kids club on every other Sunday. So we've gotten a lot of youth. We have a youth brigade that comes in, teaching kids how to kill each other, I guess. Teaching kids how to have fun, work as a team, And that's been interesting. That's been real interesting. And then we do crafts with them as well. So we've been able to inspire them creatively through art as well as, not just the D&D part of it in the role playing. So, and they're getting much better. It's great.
I've been trying to poke my co-host on Mini Studio to go on your Wednesday paint nights and all that and come hang out and network.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And always check the event schedule because I'm not open if I don't have an event. So I don't have regular business hours. I'm not open Wednesdays. We don't have anything set that we do every week because I've just been out of town a lot on the weekends, going to Gen Con in a couple of weeks. So the store we close in. But you'll see that we're going to be having a terrain classes. So that's the other great thing that we can do with this spot is that we're able to since it's not huge, we're able to do these kinds of things. James from Traveling Tales DMing is going to be putting on a dungeon masterclass where we're going to be able to have get together dungeon masters and people that want to be better dungeon masters or just learn how to be dungeon masters to get together, and we'll have a class, like a workshop, an open workshop where we give tips and tricks on learning how to be a dungeon master. And then I think on that class too, we have kind of a round robin where you get like 15 minutes. Each dungeon master gets to run the table for 15 minutes and the other dungeon masters get to critique it. So we're doing things like that. Terrain workshops, mini painting workshops, cosplay every third Thursday of the month, I think. Check our schedule on that. But Bree's running that, so she's doing great stuff with all the cosplay group that we have here. And if you don't want to cosplay, that's when we break out the mini painting as well. So you can either it's basically like an open crafting workshop, whether it's cosplay or maybe one person's doing cosplay and the other person needs to get their Warhammer painted. So come on down here and get all that done during that. We'll have that up there too. So yeah, BFFs Benson First Friday as well.
This episode's been brought to you by, in the age of sagas and songs, don't let your next TTRPG be left to the Norns alone. Let the fate of your character be carved in runes and cast in metal, liquid core, or prismatic glass. Let the players of your table wield dice worthy of Odin, Thor, Loki, and yes, Heimdall. Heimdall dice worthy of guarding the Bifrost with. Claim the glory of Valhalla with HeimdallDice.com. Heimdall Dice, the official Nordic dice of the Hermit's Homebrew podcast. Alright, tabletop gamers. Go dive into our favorite Goblin Run little workshop. The sparks have been flying, and these little maniacs at the Wicked Goblin crew have just relaunched their store. It's packed with killer merch and literally dozens of different designs on almost anything you'd need at your gaming night. From shirts to drinking glasses to dice trays, and even totes to carry it all away at the end of the game night. And now they're rolling up to the table with us at the Hermit's Homebrew podcast. It's like your own personal goblin craftsman dressing up your game night. I wanted to say that, you seem to be we have a pretty good, strong TTRPG community here in Omaha. I've mentioned on a previous episode that it's pretty much a hidden gem almost. Not many people, when they hear Omaha in our community, think, oh, the community's great there. Mm-hmm. You and Game Shopping in Bellevue, I've noticed are the two big, focused, community-driven, interact with the community stores for sure. And it's just more than just business, obviously, as you've just been explaining for the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, and the good thing is Becky, who runs the game shop, has been just an inspiration. She's always been a friend and helped me through all of this. When I told her I wanted to open up for retail, she gave me tips and has always been supportive. And we've been supportive of them too. And that's kind of my deal. Since I'm not trying to compete, I really just want to involve everybody. And even to the point where we're going to have tournaments where we can have. At the same time, we'll have tables here, tables at the game shop, tables at Legends, and we're all playing the same thing, having a big old tournament and then getting together. It's like a rally. But I think it's easier to work within the community like that and give people options. There's a lot of people who play out at game shop because that's where they live. They live right next door. There's not a lot of places to play here in Benson. And, Benson's weird. So we have a place that, kind of, the cool thing with this, and I didn't expect it to turn into this when we started opening up tables for games, was that community. It happened with our online Facebook site, the Adventurers Guild, where I just wanted people to trade their items from the crate, and then people started just showing off their painted minis and what they did, and it became this cool community online. And anybody can join it. And here it just kind of turned into the same people were coming and they were learning. They're feeling comfortable. We had different groups and different types of people that would come in, and they wouldn't feel comfortable in a larger store because there'd be a lot of eyes on you.
Yeah.
But in this store, it's a little bit more. I make sure to have music on so there's not some sort of awkward silence. And I make sure to have, just a friendly, comfortable environment so that anybody's welcome, and anybody and everybody comes into here. It's been really cool like that, and it's the same mentality that I got from Charlie at the Next Millennium Bookstore. There's all walks of life going to that place, and you got to be able to accommodate everyone, and that's kind of my goal with the clubhouse in itself. And sometimes that's the only time we get to see each other. Sometimes that's the only time people get to see each other.
You were mentioning going to Gen Con, and when I was kind of like putting together kind of the conversation topics I wanted to hit, you mentioned like in previous interviews or like articles or blogs that you went to Gen Con, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this.
Oh, yeah.
You spent too much money, and then boom, had the idea for Dungeon Crate was actually born there.
It was. You're right. I forgot about that. Yeah, I went to Gen Con one year, and I really wanted a sub box because that's when Loot Crate was really big, and I really wanted a Loot Crate that just did role playing games. And the scene was pretty different then, or I was just not really involved in it. But I came back and I looked and I could not find anything that had RPG subscription every month, and so I started one. And I was really part of the, what was it? It was DM Scotty's crafting group on Facebook. And all of us were tabletop crafters. We made terrain out of household goods. And the DMG, I believe, was on there too. And now they're Black Magic Craft. And then they all got together and started this kind of bigger Facebook group and all this community of people that crafted and made terrain and all that stuff. And so I was pretty active in that group. So when I launched it, it got a lot of attention. It was great. And then we put it out and been doing it since. But that was the first time, I just couldn't believe that nobody did it. And as soon as I made one, as soon as I came up with it and put it out there, then then they started to follow. I think I'm one of the only ones kind of left. Usually what I've seen happen is, and we're kind of doing the same thing after a while, we've got a sub box. So, you try and expand and find different avenues of income and different avenues of, like you've been doing this, the sub box needs extra stuff. So we do a lot of our own writing of all the modules, creating our own products, tokens, notepads, notebooks, shot glasses, things like that. We've created a lot of our own exclusive items to put in there as well. So
you're wearing the shirt right now. You're wearing a Righteous Vow shirt, which is a Kickstarter right now.
Oh yeah, we got Righteous Vow going on. That's, you can find that on Kickstarter. I think they funded already volume 3, which I'm working on with Bill. We're doing all the editing. My company, Big Ink Writing Services, also my other company. My wife and I have had that for 20 years, 25 years, and that's all copywriting. So we do all the game editing, where we do a lot of editing for that. So we did volume 1, volume 2, and now we're working on volume 3, getting it all out there. And of course, we've been writing a lot of our own material for the crate and in the store. So we've got tons of one shots. We got 10 years of one shots that people can get online or in person.
The rack.
Yeah, it's a huge rack, and you can see the whole. There's a big filing cabinet just full of them. And we tried different things. One shot cards with smaller cards that complement it, terrain cards, all of those things we like to do. We're just trying to be creative and figure out what's fun, what works really well, while still staying in our lane and also getting a slice of the pie. We don't want to have to compete with all these people who are doing amazing things. Kind of like, all right, I want a box that I can work with these companies and say, hey, I'll buy this many of your things and work with me, and we'll put together a really cool box for people and just kind of get it in front of people as well that may not have seen it otherwise. So So yeah, we started that, and it's been fun. It's been up and down. It's like I said, it's not something that the crate wasn't something I intended to do. I always wanted to just have something cool and have people come to me and be like, oh, this is great, which the store did. People would walk in and just lose their minds and be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But in the end, you need all those legs to,
That was my
to make a
reaction when I
business.
first walked into your store.
Yeah. That was cool. You got it's like having your uncle's cool basement, only it's a little bit nicer than your uncle's cool basement.
You were actually when I first started this podcast last year, you were one of the first people that let me put my flyer kind of up in your window with the QR code to find everything that they needed.
Oh yeah. Have your card on there. We love to promote all the local stuff that's going on too. And I thought was another, if we've only got a very small shop and we have people that come in all the time to do the games, well, let's work with the community. I love it when people bring in stuff that we can kind of show everybody else and say, here's all the events that are going on, everything from First Friday to people's podcasts to their events. We promote Game Shop's events, and we'll promote everybody's events and tell them what's happening. And then we'd like to go and support them as well,
Yeah, we were on episode 10 at that point, or 10 or 15, and now we're almost at 90.
Oh, yeah.
So. And then Righteous Vow on Kickstarter, the person you're repping, they just passed 15 grand out of their 4 grand gold.
Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I saw we got the 7. I didn't see we got the 14. That's great. Yeah, no, I'm
15.
15. Yay, great. I get paid for editing. Yay, sweet.
Speaking of,
thanks everybody thanks for everybody for supporting that because actually Righteous Vow is one of the first things that Bill came. So Bill Harvat helped me start Dungeon Crate back in the day, 10 years ago. Me and Bill had this. I had this
idea coming on the podcast.
Oh, good. Yeah, he'll be on. Yeah, so he helped me start this like years ago. And we put it together, and then he got busy with a new job and everything else. So I took it over and bought him out and just did it after that. And then he's been running games at Game Shop and here as well. Got me into Shadowdark, and started writing his stuff. And we wanted to kind of collaborate on and do something like that. So that was kind of fun. We got to do that. And now, so I edited the first Righteous Vow, and then he had the second follow-up. It was right after it, and which was twice as big. And so we edited that one too, got that one all done. The Kickstarter happened, and now we're working on this one currently. So yay, thanks to everybody for funding that Kickstarter. So we're getting all the edits done, grammar and all that other stuff. We're getting all the edits done, and we'll have that turned in here before I go to Gen Con. So we're going to be pretty much finished with everything here shortly, which would be fantastic.
You were talking about editing.
Yeah.
But I checked out your online profile, and you've done DJing, podcasting, business owner, editing.
Oh yeah.
We're a group of first responders.
Yeah.
And one of the coolest things I found out was that you were a firefighter that served in the U.S. Air Force in Alaska.
Oh yeah. Yeah, my grandson and my son are still up there. They're up in Alaska right now. But yeah, I was in the Air Force as a firefighter at Eielson Air Force Base back in 86 to 91, I believe. Then came to Omaha. I was a musician, so I didn't want to I wanted to really focus on music and try and do that. And we figured the guys that I was in a band with up there got to go down to Offutt together. And so I said, okay, I'll come too. We're right in the middle of the country, and then we can tour anyway. So the band, I played with those guys for a while. So yeah, I came to Omaha from being a firefighter and just wanting to be a rock star. That's all I wanted to do. And I got pretty close. Well, we got pretty close. I was able to we had done tons of records. I've been on several bands. We've been on the radio, got signed, opened up for everybody I've ever wanted to open up for, hung out with all the rock stars at the festival things that we did. And, got to record and tour, did all that, but also had a family. So eventually you're just kind of yeah, that's really meant for you to do when you're younger and don't have a family first. And so that's when I switched over into trying to do a business. I just always wanted to be an entrepreneur, always wanted to do business. I was always very creative. So I'm more creative than I'm good at business, okay? As most creatives are.
Same.
So, but I did podcasting. I did a lot of things. I was a veterinarian technician. I worked at pet clinics. I worked at the zoo. Got to handle all the wild, all the big animals, and got to do all that stuff. Sold.
You have a small zoo at your house too?
I do. 5 cats now, crying out loud. 5 cats, 1 big ball python, and a tortoise. So yeah, there's lots of, and I think it's all, when I read runes. So I also got all spiritual. I got a whole podcast and a YouTube channel for Rune Ways. I did a book on that. It was #1 on Amazon for a little while, and the complete guide to runes. I got really into Tolkien runes because of Dungeons and Dragons, and I found out they were a real thing. So I do that as well. I do rune readings like tarot and all that kind of stuff, and I do all that. But yeah, I got into all sorts of stuff.
You were at Mystic Fest last year, the same weekend that NukeCon was happening.
Yep.
So we had people going in and out of those 2 cons, just like intermingling. It was amazing.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. Oh, that's right. It was at the very same time right there. Yeah, that's been a cool part of my life too. I always like, doing a bunch of. I don't really like doing a bunch of different things. It just always happens. I was an artist, so I had an art gallery and I sold art. And now I just turn that into more of the crafting thing. So everything I've done, I just try and weave into whatever I'm doing now. But the podcasting started with Worlds of Wayne back in 2006. And I did that for 20 years. I was like the podfather of Omaha, I was known as. And I had,
really?
Yeah, it was cool. Well, I've interviewed everybody. I don't have hardly any of the episodes left, but I have Ace Frehley and Colin Hay and a bunch of musicians, everybody that would come to town that was on tour, a lot of local bands. I'd bring them in a house, get them drunk. We'd have a great time. Have an awesome podcast. They play live. If you go to Bandcamp, you can look up Worlds of Wayne, and you can look up in Bandcamp. I've got 2 albums, in-studio albums, that I did live of all the guests that I have, musical guests. And then I've got my 5 Story Fall album up there, which is the signed band that I was in. But yeah, just try to keep active with music and art and games, and how do I make this thing?
Well, yeah. How do you keep D&D stay a thread throughout all that?
You start a business where it makes you. And then you and then you invite people to your clubhouse to play games, so that when you're working, you can actually, that's your job, is to play D&D. And yeah, did that yesterday, which was awesome. But no, I try and play as much as I can. I don't really play D&D anymore. I'm kind of done with it. Honestly, I'm more into Shadow Dark. I like that simple rule system the best. And mainly because the guys that I play with are also not really into role playing. They're into role playing. We've known each other for 25 years, but they're not buying the books and stuff. They just want something. Just get together, eat some food, catch up, maybe get some gaming in, and that's that. So Shadow Dark fit in really well. So I started writing some Shadow Dark content. Started working with Bill on the Righteous Vow stuff. But yeah, D&D is. It just got to the point where I was running games here too for 7 people, and that gets really intense, really long, 7 or 8 people. And Shadow Dark helped me because we only do 1-shots here. We only want to do 1-shots. You can't really do a campaign because people don't want to commit, and you can't. So if you can get walk-ins and they've never played, sit them down, give them a good time, they'll come back and they'll have an awesome time. So we tried to play games that way and trying to get people. I do some Shadow Dark games, and I let other people do the D&D games. And then right now we've got a Humblewood game rolling out in the main table, and we've done Dagger Heart before. So we play a number of different games, Castles and Crusades, things like that. But yeah,
I know Castles and Crusades. Robert, I cannot remember his last name. Was just based out of Missouri. I was surprised about that.
Right.
And he's just about like 6 hours away.
Yeah, and you meet them if you go to Gen Con or Gary Con or anything like that. They're down there in their booth. And yeah, I think Johnny V, a friend of mine here, was helping out at Gen Con. Gary, no, it had been Gen Con. Yeah, it was Gen Con, I think, last year. Or was it Gary Con? Maybe it was Gary Con. Yeah, I get them mixed up. Completely different things. One's smaller and one's real big. But yeah. Yeah, I'll be down at Gen Con, which will be fun. I usually, I go to Gen Con not to play games, which is kind of weird. It's kind of like my own downtime, like to get together.
Like among our community, the Gen Con's the crown jewel, obviously, but I think like Gary Con is more the bragging I've been to GaryCon.
Yeah, that's Gen Con is one where I like to, and you'll find me most of the time. The past couple of years, I've been running games for Adventure a Week, AAW. They're pretty active on there. They've got a big booth and they have a whole room what they run. Usually they got dropouts. So me and my friend Teach, we go in there. We run the games for people that the DMs don't have a table for, or they don't have a table for the DM. But we get to run games there, which is good. And I like to shop down there. Although owning this space has been kind of, like, it's like it kind of took the wind out of being so excited about buying all this stuff at the vendor hall. But I do get a lot of vendors there. They've been in my crate. So if they don't want to take stuff, I get to bring it home, which is awesome. But GaryCon was the bragging rights. And I was really convinced by my buddy to go to GaryCon for the first time. I was a little intimidated. I really didn't. I just, I'm like, I don't really like to play games. I don't go to cons to play games. He knows I don't like cons. He knows I don't want to go but I always have fun. I always have fun. So I went. My buddy Jeremy, he ran Hawaii Con and invited us to Hawaii Con. So Dungeon Crate got to help sponsor that very small con. Got to hang out with Greedo and his lovely wife every morning and have breakfast. So the guests were amazing. I was blowing my mind there. And then he always wants me to go to these other cons. So he invited me to Gary Con. Said, "No, let's go. Everybody, people know who you are." I'm like, they know who I am. And also, I don't know anybody. So, but he brought me, and it kind of blew my mind. It was really cool when you realize that you're hanging out there and you get to go see these places like Geneva, where Gary Gygax was first, got that done. I've never been a fan, you know what I mean? Like a fan. Yeah. I didn't really care who was. It doesn't impress me. Really, I just really didn't. I was like, I just wasn't into it. I didn't know. I don't know who played drums for Boston, but it's kind of like Gary. I don't know who wrote this in module or who was involved in this or who these people are so much. But it was a really educational thing to get in there and actually get to see him. And it was pretty weird to be walking right next to Earl Otis or walking next to hanging out with Luke Gygax and all those guys. All the Gygaxes are fantastic. They're super fun, but you're right there. And you're right with everybody's really cool, especially with all the celebrity guests because people come. Joe Manganiello brings his crew, so every year you see Joe and you see Tom Morello and you see Vince Vaughn. He's always there, just eating breakfast right next to you. It's just kind of a thing. So it's fun to experience that. But to me, it's like I just want to figure out. Talk to the vendors, and that's where you kind of get to talk to a lot of these makers, a lot of these creators, which is why I would feel intimidated when I went there, because you're talking to guys that I came up with some great stuff, have really produced some amazing RPG content, won some of these great awards for it. But that's the place to be if you want to meet him. You want to meet Kelsey from Shadow Dark? She's right there. Say hi. That's what you do. If you're into that,
I didn't even realize you knew Ernie Gygax until he passed this year, and then I think you shared a photo of you two, or you're talking about it on a post.
Yeah, Jeremy took me to Ernie's house, and I had to go 2 times, and it was super fun the first time. And he's just a talker too. You get to go. It's just like his house. It's just like you go to his house in his living room. When you walk through the doors, this is a big table and it's got all this glass cabinetry around there with all the minis and all the kind of history of role-playing games around there. And he gives you the character sheets, and they were all copies of these hand-drawn character sheets and everything. And on the back it says patron god Ernie Gygax, and he signs it for you. Which is kind of fun. But you get to, that's the way he was able to help pay for some of his medical issues that he had. But his dog was awesome, and his parrot I loved dearly. That parrot, I will miss that parrot. Remembered me a year later when I came back. I'm sure the parrot did, yes. Because it wouldn't get off my hand. And Ernie was like, "Oh my gosh, he loves you." I'm like, I know. But that was fun. When you get to do that kind of stuff, then you realize maybe later who they were, what the accomplishments they've done. It kind of does juice you up a little bit, and it was pretty sad when he passed. I didn't think it would go that quickly. I didn't really realize how sick he was. So, we didn't think we would be going to get that last year's GaryCon and have to, have that as a somber reminder. But but it was still a really good time last year as well. So yeah, Gary Con, good old Gary Con.
What's like one thing you wish people more understood about the work that goes into this hobby from at least your point of view, with whether it's the dungeon crates or helping out people at your shop and all that?
Oh, I think, that's kind of a broad question too, because even if you're just somebody that's writing modules and trying to make it in the gaming industry, I think it's highly competitive now, whether you're an artist or a writer. And now it's getting even scarier with AI. It's getting, harder to navigate as far as how that goes, how we're using those as tools. So I don't know. I think it just depends on which aspect you're looking at. If it's a retail aspect, I believe that there's lots of really cool, not only game shops, but shops that are wanting to be more than just a game shop. So I'm really excited about some of that. We Geek Together is one. There's a guy that's up in Minnesota, I think, and he's got in the mall. Gosh, was it Minnesota or Montana? I don't know where it is. Utah? That's totally somewhere in the United States. We Geek Together is there, and I followed him on Instagram. And it's just what they do with the place. Everybody's so creative about stuff and how they want to present their store, and that was what keeps me inspired. But
that's really bloomed in the last decade too. I guess 5th edition and all that blowing everything up.
Yeah, it's kind of up and down though. I got to tell you, it's weird. I thought we were going to just go out of business over COVID because we were tabletop, right? Who's going to be together to play this? But we didn't. People supported us. Thank you, everybody, for doing that and kept us going through COVID. But now it's kind of like there's so many different things out there, and I think people are looking for alternatives to Dungeons and Dragons and Wizards of the Coast, honestly, as you would probably from the past couple of years and all the things that are going on with that. There's just going back and forth, and there are alternatives happening, which is what I think it's awesome that people are making new content, third-party content, and also just new games and new ways to play. Dagger, Hard, Humblewood, all those different types of games. There's so many different role-playing games that you can play. It's going to be interesting to see where that goes, because D&D is still the moniker everybody uses, kind of like Kleenex. It's not.
Yeah.
What do I say? What do you say? But I think role-playing in itself, while the popularity is still really growing, I think there's room for expansion. It is, and I think younger people are getting it. Anybody in any kind of lifestyle is now just it's growing there, because more people from all different lifestyles are being able to come together comfortably and be able to play it and do what they want to do and not feel like they're doing it. I mean, back in my day, you didn't really walk around school with a D&D T-shirt on in '83.
No,
I mean, you really didn't want to tell people you played D&D unless you thought
that in 2000.
Yeah, unless everybody in school saw the Satanic Panic happen on TV, then you told people. Like, oh yeah, I do play. I killed some demons last night. I got a monster man. I see some boobies in it. Oh yeah, that's right. They're drawn boobies, but they're boobies. When you're a teenager, but that's now it's just, I think it's great. People are very creative in what they're doing. And I think there's enough room. I'll put it that way. While I don't necessarily want to play, while the kind of D&D that I want to play is specific to me, it's old school, old style, old school kind of casual, and not necessarily minutia into each character. Other people, there's that availability. So everybody gets to have their thing.
I think especially with like 5th edition and turn into 5.5 and that being a little bit more lackluster, and then you have the
6th edition.
Yeah, 6th edition. And then I find kind of the older gamers that are more my age, like going towards a Shadow Dark or going towards something that's a lot more like rule set.
Oh yeah.
Because we like to sit there and role play with each other, but we don't want to play in one single battle for 4 to 5 hours. We hear so much about 1E taking like 1 hour for a combat, and we've never experienced that.
Yeah, no, there is definitely that, and I think some people want that, I guess. I don't know. I just
some people do.
That's why I say I think it's just kind of opened up so that everybody can choose how they want to play. And now we don't have to fight each other over it. Like, no, we're going to play first edition. We're going to play third edition, 3.5. We're going to play fourth edition. Oh my gosh. But now we've got, this is Shadow Dark, and it's got this set of rules. And I hope that it continues to be that way, where we can just play how we want to play. Honestly, it's been, I don't know the last time I've played in a game where there wasn't at least 3 half animal people. You know, it's like, boy, back in when I first started D&D, I would kill all of you people because all of you are monsters to us. They're like, what the heck? Yeah. They were monsters. But now, you can just kind of have that freedom to play what you want to play. I mean, they're playing animal characters out there, but they're playing Humblewood, so they're actually playing mice and dogs. You can do that. There's another, what was it? Animal Adventures. And they have the coolest minis. I love playing those. Was it Root? It says animal.
Good minis to it.
Oh yeah. So I mean, you know, I do like that kind of stuff. So I think it's great. I can be an old curmudgeon a little bit, and then I can also be like, but I can also go to my corner and yell at the clouds over there.
Truly, like, I feel like with the new campaign I'm getting ready to start with my friends, we're playing Tales of the Valiant, and I'm playing a human wizard. And they asked, why are you playing human? I'm like, because humans are rare now.
Right.
No one plays rares.
I always try and play
humans.
I like it too, because I did that, you know, I used to play a lot of but I played all the races. I played, you know, but I like the half elves, the dwarves, the hobbits, and I usually don't stray too far. I don't really play Dragonborn or Warforged. Don't want to play it just kind of, it got too high fantasy, and I think for me personally, just liking but it's because what I grew up with the fantasy movies, you know, it was Dragon Slayer and Conan the Barbarian and Beastmaster, you know, some of that was pretty weird fantasy as well. But now, you know, sometimes it gets to the point where, I think the main thing with modern role playing was when it came down to like D&D, as we went on through 2nd, 3rd edition, 4th edition, especially.
Yeah.
It's to a point where people were role playing fine. That's great. Mm-hmm. You were coming up with really creative stuff, but nobody was afraid of dying, and nobody was afraid of being poor. You had all the gold and treasure you wanted. There was none of that. So I think it was harder to work as a team. Hence a lot of the problems with people now not being able to get together, not having good groups, is because, you know, if you're not worried about saving each other, if you're not worried about having money to resurrect somebody, you guys don't care about working as a team. People just kind of went off and did everything. So part of it was that, I think. But now my job is I get to sit here and listen to people play, and hearing people laugh and just loving the time that they're having role playing that's what, to me, that's like, that's the only thing that really matters.
What are the things that you've done with Dungeon Crate that you'd say that you're most proud of? Like, you're just talking about the conversations and all that and just enjoying that, but
well, I think mainly just being able to see people make friends here, and online. Before we even opened the store, people were making friends with each other through the Adventurers Guild, because I would do a live every Friday or something like that, and people chime in and they could see each other, and then they friended each other after being on the Adventurers Guild, and that's been great. I love people's reaction when they find a spot that they feel comfortable at to play, when they have a good experience coming into the place, and just like, wow, because nobody's ever taken them aside and gotten excited with them about role playing and allowed them to think that they could really do it, and it's not a big deal. Kids, when they come in and they just are so excited about being able to be an elf, or being able to dress up in some of the stuff, or just see cool dice, you know, it just fascinates them. I think that's been cool. Like, the youth group has been great to see the kids develop as players and people. I don't know. You know, I think you could ask other people. It would probably be a better thing. What have they thought that I've done with Dungeon Crate that they appreciate? Because I don't really know sometimes, especially if things are up and down. You're just kind of like, oh boy, did I even do a thing? Is this even worth doing? You know, do people even care? You know, you get to that point. But yeah, every weekend you get to hear people out there laughing because they're just having the adventure of the day.
Well, if like Dungeon Crate was like to disappear tomorrow, would you still be doing like community stuff like this no matter what?
I think so. Yeah, I've always had a knack. I've always loved hospitality, which is why I like to do the castle thing. You know, we had an Airbnb, and I just wanted to own a B&B. We've always, my wife and I, always wanted to have like some sort of kind of hospitality thing. That's what we're kind of working towards, is to be able to have some land with the house and then other small houses around it, and a middle pavilion where we can do events. So it would be lean more into that, and that's where I think I'm leaning now. And regardless of what we do with the subscription, regardless what we do with the non-subscription crates or anything like that, I want to focus here locally more on developing events and community that way. You know, maybe having a membership instead of just, open for walk-in. You know, you get a membership, you can also walk in, but we'll probably I think in August we are starting the membership kind of drive, you might say, but it's basically you get a box, you get to pick it up here in store, so you save on shipping. But if you get a box just like everybody else, you get 10% off this, and you get 10% off classes, you get 10% off in store and online, all that stuff. But it's a membership. We get to add some extras and benefits and make it feel kind of exclusive. And then you have a clubhouse to work with, so we can have DMs come in and run games, do things like that. So I'd probably still focus on those kind of things. Who knows? I've done so many other things. I have no idea what else I would do. I don't know. I mean, the end goal is I can always read runes, and I would love to expand more on my metaphysical career as well, and publishing as well. I've got some game ideas that we've been play testing here at Dungeon Crate that I want to do books for. I've got 10 years of adventures I can compile into one big book. I drew a map of Halcyon 10 years ago, and that's where we place all of our adventures. And we can
really
put all of that out. Yeah, all of that's in Halcyon. I know every aspect of that map. And that would be something I would do. And, but yeah, I really do like holding events and having people show up for stuff and that kind of thing, I guess.
I mean, when I first came into Dungeon Crate like a year ago, and I dropped off the flyer, and I did a game for you, and then unfortunately I got that hernia, so I kind of got out of it.
Herman's hernia.
But that's exactly how I felt. I walked through the stores. You're just walking around, showing me everything, and just like it was absolutely amazing.
I think it's important, and that was my main. I'll say, talking about the shop and how about comfortability in a nerd community. That's the one thing I did not want with this size of a shop being so small as it is for somebody who already feels a little self-conscious, maybe is an introvert and got pulled out by a friend of theirs, and they come in, and then you just have people gaming, and they just kind of look at you and stare at you, and that was my whole thing, is I did not want people to feel uncomfortable. And so, like I said before, we would have some music on, and we'll have, we greet people, kind of let them be. Mm-hmm. And then let them see stuff. And I try to gamify stuff around the store too. So I got a little dice tower you can roll on for a free prize, whether you buy something or not. You've got, you can crate coins. When you buy stuff, you get coins. You can save up and purchase them, use them to purchase stuff in the store. You've got, just all sorts of, you hide a key in our store, and if you find it, you get a prize. So scavenger hunt, we do that every month. So I wanted some place for people to come in and not just come in, look around, go, okay, feel uncomfortable, and leave. Because that's why I feel like that happens in D&D a lot. That happens in game groups. You don't feel comfortable. You feel like you're intimidated. You walk in somewhere and nobody cares that you're even there because you're not in the community yet. I hear so many people be like, I just want to learn how to play, but I just don't know where to get a group or this. And I felt like that was the mission of this place, is to help initiate that. Come here, learn how to play a few games, go off and start your own family of adventurers, that kind of thing. And if that's what I can do here, that'd be great. So,
upon spending out on 20 other ideas that you're kind of brewing.
Yeah, it's like picking the right fruit when it's ripe, I suppose. But yeah, one way to support the shop
in the last 5 years.
Yeah. Well, you got to try things and see if they're even going to work. And also, the scene community changes over the years, and it gets to a point where you got to surf those waves and figure out where that's going to land and where you're able to go, and you got to pivot when you need to pivot. So luckily, we've been able to do that, and that's kind of what we're doing. Hence, the hours and all that kind of stuff. So.
And not a lot of businesses can do that. Like they get one business plan and they don't know how to pivot, or they don't know how to change that because the market changes or something else changes in the community, and they don't understand why the one thing isn't working anymore. It's because you didn't adapt.
Right. And you had to. I mean, we have to adapt. And luckily, we didn't even have the retail store when COVID broke out. And that would have been kind of devastating if that was our only source of income. But what we did was we already had a business with Big Ink writing services. We were doing product descriptions for some of the biggest online retail stores in the country, and we were writing thousands of product descriptions every month, and got into that. And that was pretty much what was keeping us going, so that we can actually do this business, Dungeon Crate. And of course, that just kind of winds up. So it was able to keep us going, which was good, and we were able to pivot that way. And I tried to set up the store so that I could. Our other LLC is called Free Life Media, and that's our goals. We still want a free life. Do all the fun stuff, do the ideas, be creative, and still be able to be free.
Just one last one. You've built a business, run campaigns, obviously, created your own little community. At the end of the day, what's in store for the late 2025 or 2026 with the 10-year anniversary coming up?
Ooh. Yeah, we'll definitely have a party. That would be great. But right now, we're just kind of going we're really trying to focus on the new business model. So it is going to be about events. We are lining up events throughout the month. And again, we're not open every single day. You have to check the schedule for our event schedule to see what's going on. We'll be open for events. And then I really want to kind of see what people are interested in. What would they want to do? What's not being done here that we could do? From gaming to everything else. So we're planning those kind of games, workshops, classes, and really trying to develop our youth brigade so that beyond 2025, maybe next year, we can do a youth camp, a youth adventure camp, and have adventure scouts and things like that, and kind of put some of these publishing ideas, get our world put together, get our game. We have some game modes for Shadow Dark D&D role-playing that we've been, like I said, play testing the past couple of years. So we're putting those together. That's what's going to really hopefully help us at the very end of the year. But coming up, it's just like, yeah, if you're local, if you're in Omaha or near Omaha, just if you see on our event page that we've got some games going on, we will only have a couple of tables. So get it as well. And if you see the ticketed events too, you sign up for those as well. That really just helps us pay the rent here for the clubhouse. And online, it keeps us in. This is where we do our fulfillment now. So we've got fulfillment here, but it really does keep the lights on here so that we can continue to do the community, because otherwise we just kind of do fulfillment here and have an online store, and nobody gets to come here to play games. And we've been open for 3 years, just free games. We tried paid games before and whatnot, but we found that we have to have some sort of free games for people, and that's what we're going to do. Offer free games, put on lots of events, hopefully, and maybe another Quest at the Castle event, and then go from there.
Sounds amazing. I know, even just like a couple of events I've joined of yours, it's like you said, it's welcoming, and that's should be the goal always.
Yeah, and it's something different too that you can do. So we've got some great ideas for different events that people aren't necessarily doing here in town. And again, we've got great dungeon masters. Everybody that we've worked with so far has been fantastic. If they played here more than twice, they're fantastic. Or if they have their own podcast, they're great. So
thank you.
But yeah, I think that's what we're looking forward to really trying to just let's have events, and let's support these events, and let's go, and then have a cool clubhouse where we can be cool kids and be in a club.
Wow. Is there anything you wanted to give out a shout out or promote before we wrap it up?
Actually, what have we got coming up? Oh my gosh, I should have been more prepared for that. But go check out our event page right now because we've got a few things happening. Well, we've got the Humblewood game going on tonight. But this month, I think on the 31st, we've got the Harry Potter birthday bash. It's basically our Hogwarts Wizards birthday bash. That's a ticketed event, $25, but it'll be, we've got decor, it's cosplay. We're gonna have a themed game. James from Traveling Tales DMing will be running a wizard themed adventure that night as well. We're probably gonna have chocolate frogs. We're gonna probably have some great Harry Potter decor and have a Harry Potter party then. Then we got a youth brigade birthday bash. I think we have 3 kids in our youth brigade that are having birthdays, so we're just going to throw a party. That's online too as well if you've got a kid that's of age. I think our age group is about 10, 11 as far as players go, but we usually do crafts and we're going to have food for that. So we've got the youth group game going on. Benson, First Fridays, we do the first Friday every time. So you can come, we usually have a market as well. If they've got the market outside, we're going to have a market indoors. So if we've got the first Friday happening, although I'm going to be at Gen Con for this next first Friday, so I'm lying about this first Friday. We'll see what Bree wants to do. She's my event coordinator, keeping her busy. And then after that, just keep checking the schedule. We've got games going on. I'll be here before Gen Con, so this next weekend and the weekend after that, we're going to have at least 2 to 3 tables of games happening. If you want to get in on some Dungeons and Dragons, free whether you've played or you've never played, you can come here on the weekend and we'll have that open for you. So just check check everything out on our dungeongrid.com/events page, and you'll see who's DMing and all the details for that, and whether it's a free or ticket event. Usually weekend events are free. Weekday events and the evening events are usually ticket events.
Yeah.
That's it. And Righteous Vow, yeah, thanks. And keep going to Crawl Club, keep checking out Righteous Vow and all that's happening with that. We're pretty excited about it. So
it's growing pretty big.
Yep, I hope so. And I want Bill to publish some of my Shadow Dark stuff too. So we're gonna be working on that once I'm done with his stuff, editing his stuff. We're gonna edit my stuff. So yeah, so keep eye on Crawl Club as well.
And maybe that's the real takeaway here for people that are holding the rest of the line for us, aren't always on camera or streaming or trending. Sometimes they're just folks like Wayne here that's doing the work quietly, relentlessly, and for the love of the game.
Yeah, I hope so. Oh, I think the last thing too is 50 years of D&D, 50 years of fantasy. That's what it is. They've been doing a documentary. They were at Gen Con. We've been promoting them quite a bit here as well, and I think that's coming out soon. So check those guys out as well. I'm in that documentary. We got to sponsor that, be executive producers. I mean, I mean, I think you can get $5 and still be considered an executive producer, but I gave more than $5. Yeah, so that's out there. It's been great. He was there interviewing all these people at GaryCon. So if you're interested in all that stuff too, check out 50 Years of Fantasy. And you're going to get clips and everything right now. And you're going to see interviews from some of the old school greats and some of the new school greats as well.
I can't wait to check that out. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for the movie to come out. I was hoping it would come out and we can get a preview at Quest at the Castle, but it wasn't done yet. So we'll see. Aww. Maybe next Quest at the Castle.
When is the next Quest at the Castle before we wrap it up?
Boy, that's a great question that I don't have the answer for yet. I really would love to do a fall one if we can get if we can get everything together, we could do a fall one. And we have some other ideas to do at Joslyn Castle, just 1 floor events, which might more be like where we do games and have the bar and have food, like a catered thing as well, which would just be like probably 3 or 4 tables, but in a really cool setting and really cool swag. So that might happen before the next Quest at the Castle, but hopefully we can do 2 a year. So maybe fall.
Awesome. Well, with that, I think we'll go ahead and call it and have a good night and hope everybody keeps rolling high and just roll low against you.
What? Yes, exactly. Oh, wait a minute. Like, I do the monster. So yeah, well, thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. And thanks for everybody for all the support.
Hey, tabletop gamers. Thank you for watching this episode of the Hermit's Homebrew. We come out with new episodes every Wednesday. Remember to like, subscribe, and share with your friends as we continue to level up and grow.